Well, hello everyone, welcome to round 19 of our F1 2016 career mode in Season 2. I am LoveSpuds, and here we are, Mexico. 23 degrees, light cloud, should be a dry race today. This is not one of Spuds' strongest tracks, but he will do what he can, because he's currently about 21 points ahead in the championship, if I remember rightly. It's been a while since I checked the standings there, but never mind. This is a track that has 17 corners, 2 DRS zones, and basically one long straight from right down from turn 17 to turn 1. Lots of overtaking opportunities for those with DRS, which is everyone when they get within 1 second, of course. Anyway, this is Spuds' lap. Button is currently in provisional pole position, and again, this isn't one of Spuds' strongest tracks. He's not very comfortable on this one just yet. He'll need a few more practice laps before he gets this one down. But as you can see, the first corner wasn't taken too well. He's down his delta time so far, but he is making it back up on the exit as we run up to turns 4 and 5, one of the most tricky sections on this circuit. You can see it's very easy to go wide there and to lock up on the entry into 4, and this is a very tricky, in my opinion, hairpin to get right, but he didn't do it too badly. And then the sort of the S's, the sort of Maggots and Beckett sort of section of this track that also appears in the US as well. They sort of tend to copy that sort of those sort of corners, which is pretty good. It's a testament to how good those corners are. And a challenge to the drivers as well. As you can see, when the went through the S's there, it was okay, but on the run up to 12, it wasn't very quick through the last sector there, but we still ended up 2/10 up on our previous time, but it's not good enough for pole position. Guess who's got that? Well, you can see a number 33 there. That is Max Verstappen. He has managed to sneak pole, and Jenson Button has dropped down to 2nd, and there's Felipe Massa in 10th there. Again, not such a good season for the Williams crew, but a great end to the season for the Red Bulls here, with Max Verstappen there, as I say, on pole position. Red Bulls looking really strong, and Mercedes actually have a lot to do if they want to get that 2nd position in the championship. It seems to be slipping away from them, but there is still time to do it. There you go, there's Nico Rosberg down in 5th position there. As I say, they are slipping back. Last year's Constructors' champions. Hamilton definitely out the running for the title now as well. So it's between Spuds and Jenson. As I say, the gap is roughly 21 points, if I remember rightly. And it could very well be won in the next round, or if one of them retires today. You never know what's going to happen in Formula 1. So here's the starting grid: Verstappen, Button, Ricciardo and Spuds, the 2 McLarens and the 2 Red Bulls, and then they line up 2 by 2. The 2 Mercedes, Rosberg and Hamilton, 2 Ferraris, Raikkonen and Vettel, 2 Williams, Bottas and Massa, 2 Force Indias, Hulkenberg and Perez, and then the 2 Toro Rossos, Sainz and Kvyat. And then they was mixed up a bit on the last half of the field. You see Ericsson, Wehrlein, Nasser, Gutierrez, and then lined up at the back the 2 Renaults to complete the grid. So let's get down to the action. Here we go. 2, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and we're off. The Mexico Grand Prix is go, and let's see what sort of start everyone gets today. So Spuds didn't get a great start there. The McLaren of Button, they coming up the inside of Verstappen here, should be able to make a move possibly. Mercedes are coming up behind. Looks like Spuds is going to be boxed in here. Jenson takes to the grass up the inside, gives plenty of room for his teammate, even though they're bashing away in the driver's title. Whoa, and Jenson nearly actually slams right into Spuds there, trying to avoid that Mercedes on the curbs there, but that opens the door right up for Spuds, who has leapfrogged up into 3rd position. Not a great start for Jenson, who is now battling a Williams that's come through here. I can only assume that's Bottas maybe come through. We'll get a better look in a moment, but at the moment the 2 Red Bulls are out in front, and the McLaren in 3rd and 4th. And looks like Jenson and Spuds will probably be doing a bit of fighting today, I would have thought. All Spuds needs to do is finish in front of Jensen and he will be happy. Ideally he'd want to win the race and try and put that championship out of reach of his teammate, but we've got to contend with the Red Bulls today. The Red Bulls very, very strong, as I said. Looks like they're having their own little team battle, whereas the McLarens will be having a team battle of their own. So Spuds doesn't really get a good run out of the last corner traditionally on this circuit. Must be to do this setup because he doesn't have much grip otherwise to do it go any faster. So that's the end of lap 1. This is how it stands. Verstappen, Ricciardo, Spuds, Button, and Williams just behind there, who we think is Bottas, but no, he's been overtaken by Nico Rosberg there. So Mercedes not quite out of it yet, but they have got some catching up to do. See the two teams up front, Red Bulls and the McLarens, looking to create a gap there, and Jensen is all over the back of Spuds, and he'll be looking to make a move pretty soon, I would think. But Spuds does tend to make up some ground out of these S-curves here, turns 7, 8, 9, and 10 and 11. As we run straight down to the final sector, turn 12, the hairpin of 13, and then the exit on 14, 15 and 16. Round to the curve at 17. There we go. Things going pretty well so far for the Red Bulls up front. They're not getting away from the McLarens though. Let's not discount them just yet. There's a bit of a slide there from Spuds as he comes out into 17. That will have compromised his exit quite considerably. You can see how close Jensen is. He might not even need DRS as he comes up the inside, but Spuds has got very good straight line speed and should be able to hang on to it unless Jensen's going to make a dive up the inside here. No, he's not close enough, and the order stays the same. And while this battling's going on, the Mercedes of Rosberg behind is slowly catching up. You see him just behind there. He will pick up any pieces that will be dropped if they come together or whatever. So Verstappen has actually fallen back. Ricciardo has managed to get in front of him. Maybe that was the case all along, but I can't tell from this distance on this screen which helmets are in those cars, because they're roughly similar. There's not too much difference between Verstappen and Ricciardo's helmets, but Ricciardo has managed to get ahead, and Ricciardo has had a few wins this season. So it's not impossible for him to go on to win this race, but Verstappen will want to take that win away. So expect them to do a bit of battling in the coming laps. So on lap 3, 36 laps here this afternoon. Everyone up front here is on the super soft tyre, so there shouldn't be too much difference in the lap times. But Jensen has got DRS, and that should be an easy pass on Spuds, but Spuds is not making it that easy. Spuds goes on the grass for some reason. I have no idea why, but there we go. Spuds trying to do a little bit of a cutback, but it's not going to work on that corner, I'm afraid. And Jensen takes third place away from Spuds. Now, Jensen's got another run of DRS here, so he should be able to maybe create a gap from Spuds if he's lucky, and maybe catch up to the Red Bulls. But here we go, a lap later down the line. Two Red Bulls up in front here, and Verstappen does have DRS, so he's going to catch up quite considerably up on Daniel, and he's going to make a move. He's going to go up the inside, side by side into turn 1. Oh, they got a touch. No, not quite, but they are still side by side round 2, and then 3 as well, but just almost pushed wide there, and that allows the McLarens to sneak right up behind, and it's a four-way battle here for the lead. Both McLarens have got DRS, and so has Verstappen out in front of there. But Verstappen has managed to get in front, and then we're back here. Spuds is capitalising on the bunch up and getting ahead of Jensen again. There we go, but can Jensen sneak up the inside again? Not quite, but he is right up behind, and this is a very interesting battle going on here as we go on board with Jensen now. You can see him. Geez, Spuds just ahead. All goes a bit wide there, a bit out of shape. It shouldn't compromise him too much on the exit of 11, but will put him in the danger zone as he sort of covers the inside and goes right back to the outside to take turn 12. Jensen not quite sure what Spuds is doing just now, but Spuds is making his car as wide as possible for him to retain that third position. He wants to catch up those Red Bulls, he wants to win, and there's a Red Bull and Jensen's going into the pits as well. So here we are, the first round of pit stops. Let's see how Jensen gets on, and that Red Bull up in front, I think that may be Ricciardo stopped. I'm not sure. It's very difficult to tell, actually. It's very difficult until I get the read of the screens. When the positions come up, I can't quite tell who it is. But Jensen comes out, rejoins behind a Renault and a Sauber here. Oh, and a Mercedes as well. Ends up behind a Mercedes. Well, that wasn't too good. Maybe that's Rosberg has just come out in front there. But here's Spuds coming round the final sector. 13, 14 coming up. And the final corner in a moment. So maybe he'll be stopping on this lap. Let's just have a look. And here we go. A carbon copy of the previous round of pit stops. Spuds braking heavily for the pit stop line. Manages not to get a penalty there. So there goes the Red Bull pit crew. Going to work. They've released him already, so that Red Bull will easily get back out in front of the McLaren there as Spuds goes for the soft tyres, the yellow wall tyres, and the pit crew disappear on the wall for some silly reason. So let's see, where does Spuds come out? Does he stay in front of Jensen, or is Jensen ahead? There goes the two Red Bulls are in front, and can't see Jensen. Jensen must be behind. There we are. Yes, he is. So Spuds stays in front of Jensen Button there, and that's Ricciardo just in front as well. There's a bit of a mix-up here, and Spuds could capitalise on a run down to 4, but it's all going a bit strange with the Manners and Sauber and 2 Red Bulls. It's all a bit of a mix-up here. I'm on board with Hamilton, who was that Mercedes, and nearly gives Spuds a puncture there. That was so close, but Hamilton, can he sneak up the inside? He does. He taps Spuds, throws him wide, and Hamilton's going to get past on his super soft tyres. So he's still yet to stop, maybe, unless he's gone for another set of the super soft. But Spuds just comes straight back through and says, "Thank you very much for that tap. I am going to return the favour and get back in front of you." He is not having it this afternoon. He's going to come up the inside as well of the Manor, just to try and catch up to those Red Bulls now. That man is still picking up a fight though. Don't quite know who that is, but I think that's Haryanto. Has come around the final corner. Spuds just up the inside and has got the position and the clean air to go after those Red Bulls. There we go. That was a funny 5 minutes. It was a very, very crowded track there, and let's see, it's Hamilton coming through as well as Jensen. Jensen's going to go for the outside line around the Manor, but can't quite do it. So Hamilton has managed to get in front of Jensen, so Jensen will need to get a move on if he wants to finish in front of Spuds this afternoon. At the very least, he needs to finish in front of Spuds as he goes past Haryanto there in the Manor, just to keep this championship alive. But it's not over yet. Jensen has to finish outside the points, but Spuds really does need to win to have any chance of winning the championship here and now, but that's very, very unlikely. Very, very unlikely, I would think. But we've still got 2 rounds. We've still got Brazil and Abu Dhabi to go. Brazil, not so bad a track for Spuds, but Abu Dhabi is one of the Spuds' weakest ones, so Spuds really needs to get a good result today to maximise his chances in the rundown. It's the last half of this last 2 races of the season, should I say, as one of the Mercedes comes out. That's Rosberg just come out the pit lane there. So Spuds has managed to get himself into a good position ahead of Hamilton and Rosberg, and Button is actually has actually fallen back a bit behind those Mercedes, so he needs to get a move on, as I say. But we're on board with Hamilton here. Looks like he's going to have a run on Spuds on the run up to 4, turn 4, and it's going to happen here. So Spuds going around there nicely, but does overshoot that and goes wide again, although not through the fault of Hamilton. And Hamilton just comes through and nicks that 3rd position. So Mercedes actually doing relatively well, but they really need to be in front of the Red Bulls if they have any hope of getting that 2nd place in the Constructors. There's Wehrlein up ahead in 3rd. So he's managed to get himself up there. He must have not stopped yet this afternoon. And here we go. There's a Mercedes going up on Spuds again. Who is this? Is this Rosberg? It's got to be Rosberg. It's a black helmet, isn't it? Yes, it is. It's Rosberg coming up on the inside of Spuds there. You can just see Button behind there as well. So he has managed to catch up quite considerably. And is Spuds going to go up? No, he's not going to try and go back up the inside. Doesn't quite have the positioning to do that. And here we go. This also puts Spuds at risk from Button, who's got DRS. So Spuds not having a great time at the moment. I'm not quite sure if his tyres are going off or he's just got some sort of consistency problem with these laps that he's putting in. But either way, he's coming under a small amount of threat from Jensen here. Maybe he's going a bit further this afternoon. Is he going to do a 2-stop or is he going to do maybe a 3-stop? Who knows? Who knows? But that's Rosberg freed up and he's going after Wehrlein, who should be still in third unless he's gone into the pits. And Jensen's really, really close there. Is he going to go up the inside? No, he's not. He's not going to quite do it just yet. But Spuds, again, making his car as wide as possible to not let his teammate past. But let's not forget, it doesn't really matter whether Spuds wins this race or not. All he needs to do is keep finishing ahead of Jensen. Jensen is the one that really needs to win these races. And Spuds were doing everything in his power to try and keep him behind. And this has actually been resulting in a good few battles over the last few races as Jensen easily passes Spuds for that 4th place. No, 5th place actually if Wehrlein's still ahead, but this is technically 4th place and 5th place that we're fighting over here. I think Wehrlein must have pitted by now. I think I just saw 2 Red Bulls in the distance. But if Spuds can just hang on to the back of Button, which doesn't actually seem to be happening. Yeah, Wehrlein has pulled into the pit stop at some point, because this is 4th and 5th, with Rosberg in 3rd, and the 2 Red Bulls up in front. Ricciardo's up in front, Verstappen is 2nd, and then Spuds is sitting down in 5th just now. But it does look like Jensen's on the move. He's going to try and overtake the Mercedes of Rosberg here. And it's easily done it down into turn 1. Oops, I just knocked my microphone there. I hope it wasn't too bad. But yes, there's Jensen now up into 3rd place. So now he needs to catch up to those bulls. And speaking of the bulls, they're here on screen now. Looks like Verstappen is going to try again to nick the lead from Daniel. There we go, let's just have a look. He's going to go up the inside. Should be an easy move there. Yep, DRS down into turn 1. And Verstappen takes the lead of the Grand Prix. He's had a couple of pole positions this season, but not as yet won the race. Won a race yet. But Daniel Ricciardo will be looking for his 3rd race of the season. 3rd race win. So 1, 2, 3. I think it'll be, yes, it'll be his 3rd win of the season if he can stay ahead. Or if he can put himself back ahead as we go on a nice aerial shot of the 2 Red Bulls going through 7, 8, and then 9, and then 10, and then 11 on the run down to 12. Fantastic shots there. 2 Bulls batting it out, reminiscent of the times when Vettel and Webber were fighting it out in Malaysia. That was a good race, multi-21. But yeah, there you go. So 2 Red Bulls, they are looking to consolidate their 2nd position in the Constructors, and Daniel Ricciardo is actually coming back on Verstappen here. DRS open, up the inside, turn 1, easy done. Now let's just see if Daniel can hang on to this 1st position. And they're both on the soft tyres, so neither of them should be quicker than the other. Only 1 lap worth of tyre life between the 2. And Spuds has actually caught up again to Button and Rosberg here. Let's see, Button's actually peeling into the pits now. I just have to see what sort of tyres he goes for on this next stint. Oh, one of the balls came in as well, so that must have been... does look like Verstappen there. So Button's going for the medium tyre. So he's gone from super soft to medium, and he'll probably be looking to go to the end of the race here on this set. And there's a Williams going past. Is he going to make it through? Who is it? That's... Yep, he's going to make it through. That looks like Bottas to me. It's more of a bluey helmet rather than Massa's green one. So it does look like Bottas has got through there. Shouldn't be long before Button gets past that Williams though. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a couple of laps down the line. And this is probably Spuds coming in for his next pit stop. Yes, there we are. Lets the Mercedes go. And you'll be hoping that that Mercedes will need to stop sooner rather than later. Depends on what sort of outlap Spuds gets. So Spuds is going for the same strategy. He's going for the medium tyre as well. Going to go to the end with that one. Here's Button coming through down the main pit straight. Who's going to get out in front here? It's the two McLarens. Drag racing out the pit lane. There goes Spuds. There goes Button. Button goes past quite easily actually and takes that position back from Spuds. But Spuds is pretty close. And you would think Spuds would be able to catch up to Button if he hooks up these laps, and he's pretty close to this Button here. He might get DRS, but it seems a bit unlikely. Is it possible? He's quite far back. Quite far back. Has he got DRS? No, he hasn't, but there's the Mercedes actually coming out, and the Mercedes actually slots in between Button and Spuds there. So I think Button has managed to leapfrog Rosberg in the pit stop phase there. And Spuds does need to get a move on now. He needs to get in front of that Mercedes. And then Hamilton is just behind there in the distance as well. So, oh, there we go. Spuds keep getting the two mixed up. I don't even know how. Spuds goes up the inside and takes Rosberg. Spuds knows he needs to finish in front of Jensen as often as possible. But yeah, that was a little unexpected move there. But Spuds has got to take these opportunities while they present themselves. And Spuds is now free to chase after Jensen. But what is Jensen going to do? Is he going to pull away? Can he pull away? Well, that was a bit of a strange taking of that turn there. Allowed Rosberg to catch up pretty quickly. That was a very big slide from that corner. Spuds actually really struggling with the rears today on this medium set of tyres, but once he hooks the laps up together again and gets his consistency up, he should be able to put in some decent lap times. But Rosberg is right behind him there. He looks like he's going to take that position back from Spuds. There he goes, he's run up the inside, but is Spuds going to come back up at him? Yeah, he's going to come back up the inside, gently positioning in that car. The inside, so he's got the run up the inside again, side by side as they go around the hairpin there, and Rosberg slightly wide, doesn't get the traction he needs, and Spuds gets ahead once more. Spuds doing all he can to defend that position from Rosberg, but it does look like Rosberg's going to have another run. Let's come down the start-finish straight. Spuds trying to get out. Get Rosberg out of his slipstream. But, with DRS, that Mercedes is just going to fly past. Oh. Spuds brake too early there, I'm afraid. And has let Rosberg keep that fourth position. Which is unfortunate, because if the Spuds had managed to brake later, then he would have been able to get that position back maybe. But obviously Spuds not very comfortable in the car, especially on this medium set of tyres as well, on a track that he's also not very comfortable on. So I think he's doing all right. He could be doing better. Ideally he'd want to be back up battling Button again, but Button seems to have gotten away from him so far. But Rosberg still within reach. He's going to make up move. He's going to make up move at turn 12. Well, he's going around all a big slide from Spuds there, but manages to hold it. And everyone gets away in one piece. That was a huge slide into turn 12. I wish I had a better angle of that. But we would have been on the full opposite lock to keep that car from spinning out. Looks like Spuds is going to get him. He's going to get him on down into turn 1. There you go. Just close enough to get that DRS. And he should have another set of DRSs run out of turn 3 into turn 4 down that straight. But Spuds keeping this battle alive. He's not letting Rosberg get ahead of him if he can help it. There's a bit of traffic coming up, so Spuds will be hoping that Button is held up in said traffic as Spuds goes wide again. But not so much that the Mercedes could plant his car up the inside. It's doing alright. It's doing alright. I can't complain too much about how it's going this afternoon. You can see, nice aerial shot there. Spuds and Rosberg following the Haas around, and the Haas is sort of in the way a bit here, and they have to go around the outside, most likely on the dirty line, to just get past that Haas. Will have compromised Spuds' run out of that corner, and which has left him open to attack from Rosberg. But is Rosberg going to be able to do it? No, he's not. They both had DRS, Spuds and Rosberg, so the advantage was nullified. There we go. Both got DRS again, so this should be fine, but Rosberg will be in the slipstream. But just not enough straight for him to make a difference there. Spuds remains ahead. Okay. Can't quite see where Button is. Let's see if we can stay on board long enough for us to get any sort of timing on the split screen here. Oh, hit a hiccup from the game there. On a side note, I've actually noticed this F1 2016 is probably the buggiest game I've actually played so far. Strange enough, even though it's one of the best ones I've ever played, so you can take that how you will. But there's about 4-second gap between Spuds and Button here. About 5 seconds actually. Yeah, 4.5 to 5 seconds basically. Lap 31 at 36, time is running out for Spuds to get in front of Button. Button's too far up the road, if I'm quite honest with you. And Rosberg still putting Spuds under pressure. Final sector there. Trying to get the best run possible. Oh, and another little slide. Oh, the car is very unstable under Spuds' steering there. And that has compromised his run severely. And now Rosberg is going to get ahead again on the run down to turn 1. Can Spuds come up again on the inside? Is it possible? Oh, he was looking at it. You can just see him in the mirror there. Did get quite close, but it's not going to happen, I'm afraid, on this occasion. So there you go. Rosberg has got out in front. I don't know how much more Spuds can give. It does seem like the tyres are starting to give out on him. He's getting a big lock up down into 4. Let's go up to 6. The hairpin. He's going to try and get a good run out, but that's a big slide there, and that's not going to help him at all. And then here's Jensen. He's actually going to come into the pits. There must be something wrong. There must be something horrendously wrong, because otherwise you wouldn't call that. He's going to come into the pits. For some reason, we don't know why. It doesn't even look like there's a puncture on that car, but there seems to be some sort of problem. And they feel they have to put him onto the super softs. So he's going to be very racing the last couple of laps. Oh, they're fitting a new front wing. New front wing. So at some point, Jensen has had a bit of a tussle with someone, and he felt that damage to the front wing was enough that he needed to come in and pit. Still kind of strange, because I think he could have made it to the end and maybe been on the podium, but never mind. This just goes into Spuds' favour. ultimately. So Rosberg moves up to 3rd, Spuds up to 4th, and now Spuds is exactly where he needs to be in the final couple of laps of the race to increase that gap in the Drivers' Championship. And you see Spuds going wide there. You can see how far Rosberg has gotten away from him. Spuds' tyres nowhere near as racy as Rosberg's, it seems. As Rosberg has already got a 4.2 second gap. Massa's 15 seconds behind, so all that Spuds needs to do now is just bring the car home. It doesn't even matter whether he's on the podium or not. He just needs to finish ahead of Jensen, and that will do. Oh, here comes Jensen, actually. As speak of the devil, he's come up the inside of Vettel down into 12. And he will be very racy. But I think it's too little, too late for that sister McLaren to get back up in front of Spuds this afternoon. And next on Jensen's list will be Massa, who is not that far up the road. You can just see him through the distance there. Lap 35, the penultimate lap. And then the final lap as we go on board with Spuds. 6.6 seconds down from Rosberg. Rosberg will most likely have that 3rd place secured, but we still don't know who's going to win the race yet. We expect the 2 Red Bulls to be fighting away, and here's Jensen on Massa. DRS, faster tyres, should be an easy pass up the inside here, and he does it quite easily. He's out in front. It's all under braking now. If Massa can hold under braking, then he might be able to do it, but nope. There we go. Jensen up into 5th place there. And we're just going back on board with the Bulls here. And, well, not on board, but an aerial shot of the 2 as they come through the final part of the lap. And which one's going to win? It's Daniel Ricciardo out in front. Verstappen in 2nd. Can Verstappen make a final lunge before the finish line? Doesn't look like it's going to happen. No, he's a bit too far back, and all Ricciardo has to do is run for the line, and Daniel Ricciardo wins the Mexican Grand Prix. Red Bull 1-2 there. We're just waiting for Rosberg to come through in 3rd, and on board with Spuds here as he comes round the final bends to claim 4th position. Daniel Ricciardo wins the race. Max Verstappen 2nd, and Rosberg 3rd. Love Spuds down in 4th there, no cause for celebration in terms of result, but he'll be happy that he has finished in front of Jensen Button. We'll have a look and see what the gap is when we go through and have a look at the results in a moment. And a very happy Daniel Ricciardo takes his 3rd win of the season. Very good result for Red Bull there. Most likely consolidate their 2nd position in the Constructors. And here are the full results. Ricciardo, Verstappen, Rosberg, Spuds, Button, Massa, Vettel, Raikkonen, Bottas, Hamilton, Hulkenberg, Grosjean finish the top 12. And you can see 17 seconds adrift of Daniel Ricciardo there was Spuds. And then Kvyat, Verline, Haryanto, Magnussen, Ericsson, Palmer, Nasser, Gutierrez, Perez, and Carlos Sainz. So Perez and Sainz had not finished. 2 DNFs in this race, probably due to engine failures. So there we are, that's the driver standings as they stand at the moment. Spuds is 23 points ahead of Jensen Button. All he needs to do is outscore Jensen by 3 points in the next race, and he'll guarantee himself that title. It's all a bit of a pressure cooker if you're on Spuds' side of the garage, and all to play for on Jensen's side. Jensen's got nothing to lose. He needs to come out fighting in the next Grand Prix if he has any chance of stealing that title from Spuds. So there you go, McLaren's sitting pretty at the top. They've already won, it's all wrapped up. But who's going to finish 2nd? Red Bull, most likely. Mercedes have got a lot of work to do. They need to start winning races basically, and Red Bull finish down in the points. But today is Red Bull's day, and more specifically Daniel Ricciardo's day up on the top step there. So well done to them. And join us next time for round 20 in Brazil. Should be a good one. See you then.